We are back at it again here at Hustler Casino in Los Angeles, California. Today's live stream is a 10, 20, 40 Thirsty Thursday game. In order to get a seat in this game, I promised the game runner that I would give a lot of action and play a high VPIP. I actually tweeted out right before this game that my goal was to double Nick Bertucci's VPIP score. So let's see if we can get there. This table is stacked full of action players. There's going to be some huge pots by the end of the night. I'm buying for $10,000 to start. Let's go. For the first orbit of this game, it just plays 10-20. So there's two calls for $20. I raised to $60 with ace-4 offsuit in the hijack. I get 4 callers, 5 ways to a queen 4-2 flush draw board. Checks to me, I bet out $100 and only Nick makes the call. Heads up now out of position to the 7 on the turn. I now slow down and check over to Nick, who puts out a bet of $340. I don't want to let go of my pair just yet, given the fact that he could be floating me pretty wide on the flop. He could still have some flush draws and some straight draws that I'm beating. I make the call with $1,210 in the middle. The river card is the 8 of hearts. Not my favorite card. The front door flush gets there. I check over to Nick again, assuming this is going to go check, check most of the time. Nick, however, does not want to check. He wants to continue to fire for an $850 sizing, and right away, I just had a gut feeling that he was bluffing. I mean, when he bets this river after betting the turn, he's pretty polarized to having flushes or bluffs. Polarized meaning that he either has a really good hand or he's got a bluff. I don't think he'd be betting a queen X for the sizing on this river. I don't think he has a set. I don't think he has a straight. So either he has a flush or he's got nothing at all. I mean, I do just have a pair of 4s. I lose to every other hand he could have, like a queen, 2 pair straights, flushes. I don't know. It's kind of a close spot early on in the stream. I do feel like Nick is maybe capable of bluffing, but this time I let go of my 4, and we do get bluffed by the 6 high, losing around $700 our first hand. Yep, plain scared money out here in Los Angeles. Folding 4th pair. Man, I am such a nit. I now straddle to 40. There's a raise, a couple calls. I make the call with queen 6 offsuit for $80 more. You're not going to get a 50% VPIP by folding these hands, and we go 4 or 5 ways to king 6-3 2 spades, flopping second pair. Initial raiser checks, crazy Drew checks, and now DGAF, who is a very aggressive player, bets in position for a sizing of $300. I decide to raise with my second pair, thinking that somewhat of a mergey bet here. I can sometimes get called by worse hands like straight draws and flush draws, and I can sometimes also fold out better hands like pocket 7s, 8s, and maybe even a worse king. However, I run right into it when Steady here, who actually does flop top set, goes all in for $2,600 total. This line doesn't make too much sense to me given the fact that he raised, checked, and then went all in after my $1,000 bet. Do you think it's pretty likely he could have some flush draws here? Hands like ace jack of spades, ace queen of spades, queen 10 of spades, hands like that. I get a count from Lauren the dealer and eventually feel like I'm probably behind here or crushed. And if he does have a flush draw, he's got a lot of outs. I think I just got caught with my hand in the cookie jar. So eventually I fold. He shows top set, and yeah, we were drawing dead. Okay. I'm down $3,600 right off the bat. However, after this next hand, I may be down heaps or up heaps. Only time will tell. I raise King Jack offsuit to $200. I get a call by the hijack, call by the cutoff. Nate calls, and we go 4 ways to Queen, 10 Jack, 2 diamonds. Now, if you guys look at this board, what really pops out at you? Ace King is obviously the nuts. I raised, nobody re-raised me. I have a huge range advantage on this board. I bet 240, and now Drew raises me to $540. Action over here now on Billy and the cutoff, who thinks for a little bit of time and cold calls this raise by Drew for $540. And now we have a decision to make here with our pair and open-ended straight draw. I could call and try to hit a 9 or an ace for a straight. Who knows if my king is any good. However, I came here to bring the action. I don't think either of these players has a really strong hand on this board, given the fact that neither of them re-raised my raise pre-flop. They shouldn't have queens, jacks, tens for a set. Definitely shouldn't have ace-king for a straight. I think a lot of the time here, Crazy Drew might have a top pair holding, maybe two pair. DGAF probably has a flush draw when he just overcalls that raise. I feel like if I go all in here, I can try to get heads up against Crazy Drew, and Billy DGAF will fold out his flush draws or his top pairs, and I can just run my equity with my pair and open-ended straight draw. So after thinking for a little bit of time, I decided to go for it and 3-bet jam all in for $7,000 total. We are officially going for it here. 3-bet jam all in for $7,000. A massive semi-bluff with a pair of jacks and an open-ended straight draw. Best case scenario, both of my opponents fold. We take down all this dead money. Second best case scenario is Drew calls with a 1-pair hand and DGAF folds. Worst case scenario, I would say, is that both of my opponents call, which is eventually exactly what happens.
Really putting DGAF to the test.
You only live once.
He's going to go all in. Pretty fair fight here. Everybody's pretty much got similar equity.
I'm in trouble.
Everyone has a draw.
Yeah.
He likes his ace queen.
Drew looking to close the door with a queen or a 10.
I don't have a set.
Just like that, I'm playing a massive $18,000 pot. We're going to run out this board 2 times.
For Billy.
2 pair.
That's
Bink
me for
on
now.
the turn. Billy with the nut
pair.
flusher.
I can be 2
Ace
pair
high
right now.
diamonds.
With 10.
I was going to fade some board pairing outs here. And a river pairs for Lexo. Running.
What a run out. King to give me a full house on the top board, locking that one up. I have a huge side pot up against DGAF Billy. So we're hoping to fade a diamond on the second run out, which we do. That means I win a massive side pot and then chop up the main pot. Good for $6,000 worth of profit. This just shows it pays to gamble, and of course, it's nice to get lucky. I'm sure you guys have all heard of the 7-deuce game where if you win a hand with the worst hand in poker, you win a bounty from everyone at the table. Well, instead of 7-deuce, we're actually playing 4-deuce, hence why I'm now raising to $600 with 4-deuce offsuit. Wei ends up folding ace-jack offsuit, a pretty tight fold, but she can get away with it because she's a pretty girl on a live stream. Johnny ends up making the call, though, and we go heads up to a flop where I make bottom pair. I bet out $1,000. He folds, and we take down $100 from every player plus $200 from Johnny, winning the bounty here.
He did off flop and made it kind of easy on that flop.
I could have a call for 2. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I handed it to him. I handed it before I freaking folded my cards.
Did you?
Yeah, so it's like here.
After winning those back-to-back hands and winning the 4-deuce bounty, I have now risen to the top of the leaderboard, up $6,000, sitting on almost a $20,000 stack. A nice little turnaround from being down $3,000 to start off. Under the gun raises, I've got a $20,000 stack. I can afford 120, so I make the call on the hijack with 4-3 offsuit. Nick, who's playing his A game today, re-raises to $520. Back over to Under the Gun, who makes the call. I'm getting a good price. I'm probably never dominated by these cards. If I hit the flop big, I could probably win a big pot, so I make the call for $400 more. I'm in the middle of this 3-bet pot sandwich to an ace-9 2-heart board. Wade checks, I check, Nick bets out $500, which I think he'll be doing with probably 100% of his range when he 3-bets here on the button. He can be doing this with a wide range of hands. So whenever Wade calls to $500, I think this could be a spot to try to put in a raise and steal the pot. Let's say Nick is c-betting with king high, queen high, jack high hands, and Way's calling with a pocket pair, a flush draw, or a 9. I think I could possibly get both of them to fold if I put in a big raise.
Alexa just with 4-3, but he's going out in a lark here. He's going to make it 2,100. And Nick's jamming his flush draw here. He's got 7-8 of hearts.
I knew he was fucking around.
You're right.
But now I'm dead.
So dead.
It's up 2.
Normally Nick would have some backdoor straight draws on the 7-8-9, but not when his opponent is full like she is here. Tough timing here for Nick.
Well, that is the second time I've check-raised bluffed right into the nuts today. They ran out the board, but it doesn't matter. Way's got a full house. Nick has a flush draw, and a huge pot is going her way. I will say, I feel like I should get a little bit of a kickback here. If it wasn't for me raising, Nick would have never went all in, and she never would have won a huge pot $11,000 going Way's way. Nice hand.
Expect that. I thought I would get her off of whatever she called with.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah.
A double shot.
I'm not saying that.
Oh, no, that's my fault.
Nick had the right read. Nick knew Lexo was jacking around, but
Lucky jacket.
Yeah.
boy, he did not know
Right thing to do.
she was holding to that extent. Often players might, check flopping that big there, but she did not. She
I've
fast.
been playing like a maniac this entire stream. I ran pretty good in that big pot. I'm up about $5,000 on the day, and it gets better when I finally get a monster pocket queens under the gun. I raised to 120, hijack calls 120, cutoff calls 120, and then Crazy Drew gets a little bit crazy on the button when he re-raises me to $350. Nate is in a pretty sick spot here with pocket tens out of position. He decides to call the 350. Johnny calls 350, and we are in a dream spot here with queens. Look at all this dead money. I have a great image of being a crazy bluffer this entire stream, and I finally have it this time. Obviously, we're going to be putting in a 4-bet, but I think my plan is, instead of 4-betting huge, like $2,000 and allowing Drew or Nate to fold out better hands, I think I should 4-bet small, allowing Crazy Drew to potentially back raise all in first $3,000. That'll reopen the action, and I can 6-bet jam if anybody calls his 5-bet jam, if that makes sense to you. I make it $1,100 to go, and now the action's over here on steady.
Crazy Drew 3-bet to 350 with ace queen. Kennedy just feeling it with the ace jack of hearts. Full send here from Kennedy. Crazy Drew gonna live up to the name.
I don't care.
Almost 6K stack effective. He's gonna fold his pocket.
Sorry.
Correctly so.
You got him? You got him, yeah.
Great spot here for Lexo.
You guys all want to go once?
He's got his opponents kind of cannibalizing each other with ace-x hands. He's got a fake.
What a dream spot for us. Queens versus ace-jack versus ace-queen for a $16,000 pot. I'm 71% favorite. Kennedy wants to go once, so it's 5 cards, 1 time for a 16K pot.
Instant sweat here. Heart, flop.
What a sweat.
Kennedy with the nut heart draw. Kennedy has a little nut flush as a reducer with the queen of hearts in his hand, though.
You're getting one coming.
Once or twice.
One time.
Instant pain on the turn, 2 of hearts.
Oh, man. That sucks. Kennedy gets it in with the worst of it, flops a flush draw, and turns us both dead to win $10,000 of profit. I lose around $6,000 here. What a dream spot. Queens versus ace-jack versus ace-queen. These kind of spots just don't come around very often. Would have been nice to hold for just one big pot for once, but I'm actually not surprised the way I've been running these last couple months. This has been happening to me all the time. I'm trying not to be too frustrated, but damn, this one hurts. If I could have won this one, I would have had a massive stack up like $15,000, but the game is still great. People are going all in. There's huge pots, so we can easily get it back. I'm feeling super tilted about that last hand, so I order myself some vanilla ice cream and some hot brownie sundae to hopefully cheer myself up.
Double board bomb pot, pot limit Omaha, and then half no limit double board bomb pot. I think that's July 15th. I'm looking forward to that one. It's a $1,500 buy-in
I'm not a big nut guy,
with 2 re-entries, so
Johnny's a big nut.
definitely stoked to play that event this year, as I've played a lot of double board here out as a professional playing here in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
No, because it was an extra.
They play, I think,
Yellow.
yeah, he does that.
It looks like some pretty good food, that's for sure. Got a sweet tooth is Lexo.
Nice tilt.
Everything tastes a little better after you do a
I know.
I'm away from the table getting myself a drink and come back to having king-queen offsuit under the gun +1. I raised to $200. There's one call, and DGAF, who hasn't had the best day, he's been losing and has a short stack of around $2,000. He goes all in. It's less than 100 big blinds. I've got king-queen. I'm okay with giving him some action, so I make the call. All right, this time we're a 62% favorite in a $5,000 pot. Gonna run out this board 2 times. Let's see if we can finally hold in a big one. The first board is clean for me. King-queen high is going to win, but the second board, Billy finds a 9, and of course, we're gonna chop this one up. I believe I'm in this game for $13,000, so I'm only down around $2,500. I played some big pots already, but stay tuned. The biggest pot of the night is coming up next. I get dealt in 9 of clubs, 9 of diamonds. I raised to $200 over a $40 straddle. I get 5 calls, an action-packed game. This one is 6 ways to a dreamy flop. Ace, 10, 9. A set. Finally, a big flop for us. I check out of position like I would with probably 100% of my range. Steady bets $500. Kennedy calls $500. I've been playing like a maniac this entire session for this exact spot. I finally have a big hand. I've check raised bluff a few times and not gotten it through. This time I'm check raising with value. $2,100 to go back over on Steady, who goes all in for less. Kennedy, who is definitely playing some crazy action poker, makes the call for $2,100. And just like that, this pot is escalated quickly. $7,200 in the main, and I have a huge $8,000 on the side effective with Kennedy. Once Kennedy calls my bet, I think he's got an ace-x hand sometimes, maybe some straight draws. We're going heads up here to the turn with a lot of money to play for. Let's see if we can hold.
On the side.
Queen on the turn. Unbelievable.
3,000.
What a find by Kennedy.
Call.
You got a bet on an all-in. Lexo's going to be disgusted to see what turns.
Connected.
Steady has a lot of his outs as well with the ace and the 9. That's going to be a skinny boat fill-up for Lexo.
Ace coming.
That's your hope.
You got 2 pair?
Narrow path to victory here for Lexo. Can he find it? 2 on the river. What a hand for Kennedy, the dream crusher.
Goodness.
Is this even real life? The same guy who cracked my pocket queens with ace-jack suited now hits a gut shot straight on the turn when I have a set. Oh my God, losing a $23,000 pot, $10,000 gone, getting stacked by me. Wow, that was gross. That was nasty. At one point, I was up $6,000 with a 19K stack, and now I have zero money in front of me. That's $19,000 vanishing in just about 30 minutes. I'm now down $13K on the day. Before we move on to the next hand, I have been playing a lot of online poker lately. Throughout the month of March, I'm actually going to be playing a lot during the evening hours. So if you guys are interested and you want to play with me, go down in the description below of this video. Follow the link and get yourself on to play some poker with me. On the outside, I'm trying to just sit here and continue to play the game, but on the inside, I am fuming. I've been losing the last couple months in poker. I flew all the way out here to Los Angeles, got a seat in one of the best games that there ever is, sitting super deep stacked, and I just cannot hold in the big spots. Down tons of money. There's only an hour left in the stream. I'm not sure if I can even get it back. But this is the game I signed up for. I signed up for this when I decided to become a professional poker player. I could have made a lot of other different career choices with a lot of less stress. But this is it. Sometimes you're going to lose. Sometimes you're going to get stacked. You just got to deal with it and move on to the next hand. Well, it may not be aces, but 4 deuce looks pretty good with this bounty on. I call for $80. Nick races to 400. Steady calls. I call and flop bottom pair on a wet connected board. Action checks all the way around. I turn trips. Nice. Okay. I put out a bet. Everybody folds. I win the pot and the bounty on the side.
Can you give me 200?
Oh my gosh.
Cheers, babe.
2-4, shut up.
Can you give me 200? Thanks.
Come on, Nick.
200 from each player for that 4 deuce prop.
And I folded a 4.
Feels a bit dirty when you make a big hand like Trip 4 was bet.
I want to make sure I get all my money.
That shirt is
No, that doesn't count.
the table.
Yes.
I left 400 against Nick. Did we turn the heat on?
Quick look into the big Parliament Omaha game there. Nick Airball and Pepe, and that was suited Superman with his back to us.
Call production.
That's the game
I'm steaming from losing big pots and literally steaming because it's like 88 degrees on this table with the lights and the bodies. There's a raise by Johnny to 220. I'm not going to get my money back from folding, so I'll make the call for 220. Nick now wakes up with a monster and re-raises to $1,400. Back over to Johnny, who folds. I feel like Nick's going to have a very strong hand here of jacks plus an ace-king, ace-queen. I feel like given all that, I can call here and try to play post-flop. Maybe I can try to bluff on some scary runouts or potentially hit a big hand and maybe get paid off by his big overpair. So I'll make a pretty light call, $1,400, ace-2 of diamonds to a flop of 3-3-2 with 1 diamond. I check over to Nick, And if he does have those big overpairs, we're still behind, although we do have some equity with a 2, an ace, backdoor flush draw. If he's got ace queen, ace king, king queen suited, we are ahead of those hands. $1,100 bet by Nick, and I can't be going anywhere now, so I make the call. Turn cards of 4 gives me more outs to a straight. I check, and Nick quickly checks back. River cards at 10, I think about block betting here small, maybe to get a hero call by ace king, but I don't think he'd be making a hero call with ace king, so I think the best option is to check over to him, which is what I do, and Nick fires out a small bet of $2,000.
Going for a value bet, hoping to get called by like an 8s, 9s, jacks kind of hand. Probably doesn't put Lexo on kings or aces, given the pre-flop action.
Can I look?
Sure.
Yes, you do. Better than mine.
Little game of peekaboo here between these two.
You're a terrible actor.
Little poker peekaboo. Nick's kind of like where he's at with the deuce.
That's a big hand right there, bro.
Not liking this spot. This $2,000 bet is unlikely to be a bluff. I am still beating some hands he would 3-bet pre-flop and then check back on the turn with ace king, ace queen, king jack, king queen. However, I just don't think I'm winning this pot very often. I take my time to try to think over the options. He looks pretty comfortable. Just don't think the deuce is good, so eventually I make the fold. I've been making poker YouTube videos now for over 3 years. February 15th of 2021 is when I released my first video, and now 3 years later, I've made over 240 poker vlogs on the internet. Back when I first started posting videos, I would get a lot of hate, a lot of negative comments, people talking about my plays, that I wouldn't hack it, that I would go broke, I didn't belong at 510. I continued to play 510 and post videos for the next year or so, and the comments somewhat dwindled down. Then I moved to Texas and started playing on a lot of Texas live streams. I made some mistakes, I made some nitty folds, and the comments section started up again. A lot of people tell me, Lex, don't listen to the haters on the internet, don't listen to the negative comments, and it's easy for you to say when people aren't constantly talking shit on you on your videos or on the internet. I mean, it is pretty frustrating to play for 3 years and have people continuously bag on you, rag on you, and talk shit about you on the internet. However, I did sign up for this by making poker videos and posting them for anyone to see. Over the last 2.5 years, though, I feel like my game has completely transformed. I feel much more comfortable in high-pressure situations, very deep-stacked and bigger games. I mean, I was definitely not comfortable 2.5 years ago, but after a lot of work, a lot of experience, building up my bankroll and trying to learn from my mistakes, I feel very comfortable in some of these big games. I never claimed to be a poker coach. I never claimed to be good at poker. I never claimed to know what I was doing. All I tried to do on YouTube was showcase the journey of a 1-2 no-limit player going up through the stakes, making it to 510, and what it was like dealing with the ups and downs of playing poker for a living. So I will have to say, I was really surprised when I posted my last YouTube video where I played 50-50 100 against Mariano and Mike X on Hustler Livestream. The amount of negative and hateful comments I got really surprised me. I mean, I ended up winning $10,000 that game. It was one of the biggest buy-ins I had ever made. I also won a $40,000 pot when I 4-bet ace-9 suited and went for max value on the river. One thing I have learned over the last 3 years is that it is impossible to make everyone happy. There's always going to be someone mad, upset, angry, jealous of what you're doing. I mean, if you play too many hands, you're a fish. If you don't play enough hands, you're a nit. If you win too much money, you're bad for the game. If you lose too much money, you shouldn't be in the game. It's kind of ridiculous. It's a pretty toxic world we live in. I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing, making poker videos, trying to move up in stakes, play bigger games and bigger pots. I am very excited for what the future has in store. After 5 hours, the game ends up breaking. I head upstairs here to this empty, quiet room to go over my thoughts after losing a lot of money.
Well, that did not go very well. I ended up losing $15,800 in 5 hours playing on Hustler Casino Live. My first loss on the live stream. I played 5 live streams so far in the last 2 years. This is my first loss, and it is a big one. I got crushed. I got murdered. $15,000 worth of a loss, and it kind of just sums up how I've been running these last 3 months of poker. I've been on the worst downswing of my entire life, just losing and losing and losing, and a couple big hands tonight that should have went my way just did not. The first big hand, pocket queens, three-way all-in for like a $15,000 pot versus ace-jack and ace-queen. You cannot ask for a better situation than that. Both of my opponents have each other's outs. There's only 2 aces left in the deck. They can't hit a queen, only a flush or a straight or whatever, and my opponent hits a flush, and I lose a big one there. And then the one that hurt the most was when I flopped this set. I raised the flop, and my opponent hit a straight on the turn, and I got stacked. So at one point, I had a $19,000 or $20,000 stack. I was up like 7K, and I went from $20,000 all the way down to 0. I've never had that happen before. I got completely stacked, had to rebuy, and then I just couldn't really get much going after that. I got it all in, king queen versus king 9 against DGAF, way favorite and chopped, and then just didn't get any big hands. I mean, I played a lot of hands. I probably played close to 50% VPIP. I'll put the VPIP stats right here. I wanted to come into today's game playing a lot of hands. In order to get into these games, I have to give action. So I play poker for a living. I'm a professional, semi-professional poker player. I have a YouTube channel. I play poker 4 sometimes a week. A lot of the other players, if not every single other player in the game, they don't play poker for a living. So in order to give back to the game, in order to be good for the game, I have to give action. I can't just play my normal 5, 10, 25 of the Hard Rock style, where I play 22% of hands, I 3-better fold, I never limp, and I don't give action to nits and whatever. So I played a lot of hands tonight. I was in there. I probably had one of the highest VPIPs at the table, and that was all on purpose. It was all to give action. It was all to be good for the game. It was all to get in there and play some pots and mix it up, and some hands went my way, some bluffs went my way, some bluffs didn't go my way, and all in all, it was just kind of an annoying night because I tried to bluff once or twice, and maybe it didn't work, and then when I finally had it with queens and 9s, I just lost huge pots. So what can you do? I mean, all in all, I felt like I played okay. My strategy going in it was to play a lot of hands, was to get in there, get in the mix, and try to play some big pots, and I did play some big pots. They just didn't go my direction. So one thing about transparency, which I try to always do on this channel, I do sell action. Unlike maybe some other poker vloggers or other people who play on Hustler Live, I have to sell action. The game is just too big and the variance is too high not to sell action. I don't have enough money to be able to lose $50,000 in a weekend and then just go back to my normal life. I have to sell action to mitigate the losses. Now, of course, it mitigates the wins as well. So anytime I play a live stream, I usually sell a little bit of action or a lot of action, depending on how big the live stream is. So yesterday I won $10,000 playing on the Wednesday game. I sold action for that game. So I didn't win all the $10,000. And then today, lost $15,000, but I did sell action for the game to kind of minimize the downfall. But man, it would have been nice just to scoop that pocket queens hand and to hold with that pocket 9s hand for a set. Would have been nice, but sometimes it's just not your 3 months. Am I right? I have one more day here in Los Angeles. I'm actually flying out on a red-eye tomorrow night. I'm already exhausted. These streams take a lot out of you. They are, you know, very intense. Like, you're playing big pots, you're in there, you're on camera. Like, everything about it is pretty tiresome. I've been traveling now for about a week, so I'm pretty exhausted. I'm gonna try to get some sleep tonight. Tomorrow's gonna be an insanely long day. I think I'm gonna play one more session here at the Hustler, probably like a 5-5 or 5-10 game. I'm gonna fly overnight back to Florida and then just rest and relax, edit these videos. All in all, I feel like it was a successful trip out to LA. I really like playing on the Hustler Casino live stream. Great people, great dealers, great staff. All in all, it was a great experience other than losing $15,000 tonight. I hope I'm back. I'm hoping I can keep getting invites to these games, and I'm hoping I can keep pushing the level upwards and trying to play bigger games, bigger pots, bigger buy-ins. That is my goal, is to always play bigger and, you know, try to keep excelling. So I also want to thank you guys that watch my videos. This is something that definitely completely changed my life, making a poker vlog, making content on the internet, having people watch my content, having people like, comment, subscribe. Having all of this has completely changed my poker career and my life in general. I would never be able to play on these streams if it wasn't for the poker vlog. I would never probably have the opportunities to sell action and get money and have the money I have if it wasn't for the poker vlog. So all in all, you know, all this comes back to thanking you guys for showing up every single week, watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate it. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So thank you again. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can start running better. I appreciate, you know, all the support. And yeah, that is it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you.